Time to get buzzed. Howard Bender, aka Roto Buzz Guy, is here to help you get through Thursday on Getting Buzzed. And now, please welcome to the virtual stage, Mr. Howard Bender.
Yeah, what is going on, everybody? Welcome in. Thanks for joining me here on Getting Buzzed. I am Howard Bender. That's right, at Roto Buzz Guy on all the social medias. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or X, whatever you want to call it. Hell, you can find me on TikTok at The Real Roto Buzz Guy, although I'm not really that active over there. But you know what? Hey. What is going on? What an unbelievable show we've got for you guys here today. There's my special guest, none other than Chris Kuroda, Phish's lighting designer, also happens to be a really, really good friend of mine. So super excited to have him in here. He is a notorious fantasy football junkie. So we're going to dive into him and his leagues and the smack talk and everything else that we do with fantasy football. Let me bring him in here. Say hello, everybody. My main man. He is the right hand to, my entire body here on Getting Buzz. It's my producer, Adam Bernard. Adam, what's going on, man? Welcome in. How are you? What's new? Our Jets are going to lose to Kansas City this week. Taylor Swift might be there. No, probably not.
So depending upon what I'm your right arm for, there are certain things that are not in the job description that I'm not going to do. So just, when you say I'm your right arm guy, just, know that.
Come on. Well, come on. I thought we were close, Didn't you tell me you wanted to, when we were in Vegas together, you were like, let's take a schwitz in a sauna for a little while, just you and me. I thought that's what, you meant.
That was not me. I don't know who that was, but that was not me.
Oh, no, that's right. You were my compatriot in the potato skins nachos war.
Correct.
That we
had. Yes, I'll be watching the game on Sunday and the Kelce Swift mania and all that. Yeah, it'll be real fun to watch the Jets get decimated and then all the Taylor Swift references and all that. So it's going to be great.
You hate this so much.
I'm
loving it. I'm embracing it. Why do you hate it so much?
I don't hate it. I hope they're happy. I hope they both get how the relationship goes as far as the both. I just don't like the pop star coverage of constant updates and what's going on, like invading the sports world. Like for us, that's injury updates, things like that. Like it's just like everybody likes it now, but I guarantee you, we'll say by Halloween, people are gonna be over it. People are gonna have had enough of it. The real football fans, they're gonna be tired of it. It's gonna be enough.
Not me, man. I am going to embrace it every step of the way. Swifties forever. I don't even like Taylor Swift's music. I'm not really that into it. So. But I got to tell you, man, it's a lot of fun to sit and watch. I equated this to everybody, and you can follow me on Twitter at RotoBuzzGuy. And I actually put this up there because I was having to explain the Swiftie mania here going on with that to a friend of mine's grandpa. And all I did was show him a picture of Joe DiMaggio and Marilyn Monroe sitting at a table, and he knew immediately. He was like, oh. I mean, listen, if social media was around back then, you would probably have that same opinion about Joe D and Marilyn Monroe. But, here we are now. And obviously, yeah, it's all the social media that does it. And maybe that's why it's going to grate on your nerves. Adam, I think that you should embrace it. Maybe you and I go to a Taylor Swift concert together wearing matching Kelce jerseys.
Listen, I would love to go to a Taylor Swift show. I'm a fan of live music. So, I'm not paying those prices to go see her. But if somebody's like, hey, I got a ticket at a reasonable price, are they going to take me? Absolutely, I'd go. I'm rooting for them. I'm not looking forward to just the ad nauseum overdoing it of the constant coverage. We're going to know oh, Travis Kelce changed his toilet paper roll twice today. I hope his stomach's okay. It's just it's going to get to be that. Or like I said before, before the show, oh, let's say Taylor Swift wears a red Travis Kelce jersey to 2 games in a row and everything's fine and dandy, and she switches to a white one and he drops a game-winning pass or rolls an ankle. Oh, it's going to be oh, see, she jinxed him because she changed the jersey. I'm not looking forward to that stuff. That's all.
All right. Okay. That's all right. I won't talk about it with you. I'm going to ask Chris Kuroda, actually, because in addition to being Phish's lighting designer, there was a time where Chris also did the lights for Justin Bieber. And there was a time that he did the lights for Ariana Grande as well. So he knows that pop star mania stuff.
I thought you were going to say he dated Taylor Swift. There was a time where he dated Taylor Swift. That's where I thought you were going with that for a minute.
No. Come on. His wife is so much better than Taylor Swift. But listen, so look, he just got on out of here. He was like, I'm out. Well, that's all right, because you know what? Before Chris gets here, there was definitely something I wanted to talk about here, and that is in the football world. And it's crazy, man. It is offensive coordinators. Offensive coordinators. What's the actual pronunciation on all of that right now? Offensive coordinators, whatever the case may be. Here you go. I've got the full definitions for you right now, because there's stuff going on that is it's absolutely horrendous. All right. The game continues to evolve, and yet we see some trend-setting, innovative coaches who pop up here and there. But there's an inherent problem within the NFL being a copycat league. Okay. And the fact that it just recycles the same old coaches and coordinators. And we just see it over and over and over again. Case in point, Nathaniel Hackett. Now, listen, I don't care what you guys say. The main problem, right? Here's the blame game. Whose fault is it? Is it Joe Douglas's fault? Is it Robert Saleh's fault? Are we all blaming Zach Wilson? Like the what's going on with the offensive line? And you can point your fingers in any direction that you want with regard to the Jets. And I'm telling you flat out, that's the problem. Right there. Boom. Him. This guy, Nathaniel Hackett. He's a fraud. And listen, maybe there was a time where Nathaniel Hackett was innovative and had some ideas in his head. But here is a guy who made his bones on Aaron Rodgers' back. Nathaniel Hackett is a great offensive coordinator if Aaron Rodgers is his quarterback. Okay, we saw that in Green Bay. Lots of great stuff there. But here's the thing, and I've said this before. Nathaniel Hackett, when he sends in a play to Aaron Rodgers, it's not, hey, run this play. It's, man, here's a suggestion. Maybe try this play out. See what you want to do. Anything like that. And Aaron's like, whatever, dude. Okay, fine. Thanks. Great suggestion. I'm going to do this. All right. Nathaniel Hackett, then he goes to Denver, and he's atrocious there with Russell Wilson. Absolutely atrocious, because he is not seeing the game the way Aaron Rodgers would see the game. And he's not seeing the game in a very clear light. Nathaniel Hackett would have been fine this year had Aaron Rodgers stayed healthy. But the fact that he's got Zach Wilson now, who is green, so to speak, there's a lot of work that needs to be done. He has a lot to learn. But, this whole thing right now, like Zach Wilson against the Dallas Cowboys defense, like what happened to, hey, look at that. Zach Wilson managed the game okay against Buffalo, and our defense and our ground game helped us out here. Then we get annihilated by the Cowboys, who should have annihilated us. They should have done that. The Dallas defense is insane. And I'm sorry, but Hackett is not game planning properly against them. Then what? You want Nathaniel Hackett to outthink Bill Belichick? No, doesn't work that way. Not even close. And so Zach Wilson has a terrible game. Fine. But here we go. Let's move forward with this. I'm not loving this matchup against the Chiefs here on Sunday night, but I'm not blaming Zach Wilson. You know what this is? This is Adam Gase all over again. And for those of you who don't recall the Adam Gase stuff, which was ridiculous, all right? Adam Gase was considered this quarterback guru. Why? Because he was the offensive coordinator for Denver when Peyton Manning helped them win the Super Bowl. Adam Gase was the be-all, end-all? No, it was all Peyton Manning. Adam Gase is still with the bug eyes, following the taco, whatever kind of like imagery or fun memes that anybody wants to create, but that was Adam Gase. Nathaniel Hackett's the same thing. There's no difference here. Nathaniel Hackett can't run this offense with Zach Wilson. He could turn around and do it with Aaron Rodgers, but not with Zach Wilson. And that's really, this is what bugs the hell out of me the most about it. Because Aaron Rodgers, he can't travel right now. What I want is for Aaron Rodgers to be sitting in the booth and looking down and being the only voice in the helmet of our good friend Zach Wilson. Maybe that would help things out. But Nathaniel Hackett, the fact that we put all of our eggs into the Aaron Rodgers basket, the Achilles blue, and now Hackett is there. We're stuck with him. All right. I don't care what veteran QB you bring in. Go ahead. Matthew Stafford, Trevor Siemian. I honestly don't care. You could bring in Russell Wilson. You could bring in Dak Prescott. You could bring in, Brock Purdy. Any quarterback you bring in is going to be miserable. Why? Because Nathaniel Hackett is a lousy offensive coordinator. He is not a good coordinator because he's resting on the laurels of what he did with Aaron Rodgers, and he didn't do it with Aaron Rodgers. All right. Aaron Rodgers led the way for that. And so we're seeing this all around the NFL right now. Let's go to Chicago. Luke Getsy. I mean, here we go. Another Green Bay. Oh, this sad news bear. Oh, that bear's cute. That bear's adorable. It makes me want to pet him. But Chicago Bears, on the other hand, but they fell for the same thing. They absolutely fell for the same thing because Luke Getsy, he was a quarterback's coach and an offensive coordinator for the Packers while Aaron Rodgers was there. So what are we doing? What are we thinking? You can't sit there and be like the quarterback's coach and the passing game coordinator for Aaron Rodgers. All right. And then come in and then what? You don't like Justin Fields' style? You want Justin Fields to be more of a pocket passer and less of what he does? Well, that's just the dumbest thing. You don't want to take a square peg and try shoving it into a round hole. It does not work. And you can't sit there, think back. Do you remember when Robert Griffin III got hurt? And then he came back from his injuries and all of a sudden Washington was like, there's no way. There's no way we're going to sit here and let Robert Griffin run. And he was a disaster after that. You can't take a guy completely out of his element. All right. You drafted Justin Fields for a very specific reason, Chicago. You can't change his style of QB. Maybe you want to try and protect him from taking hits like the Colts should be doing with Anthony Richardson. Yes, probably. But overall, you can't sit here and take a mobile QB and suddenly try to force him to be more of a pocket passer because your stupid offensive coordinator doesn't know how to work a scheme around a mobile QB. And that's the issue that we're having. Now, I'll also talk about the Steel City. Let's talk about Pittsburgh. Matt Canada, everybody wants to blame Matt Canada for what's going on. I got to be honest with you. I am not as down on Canada as most people are. And if you watched last week's game, Kenny Pickett looked better. There was improvement. There was game-to-game improvement. And that's what you want to see. All right, Matt Canada is working on developing Kenny Pickett while he's also trying to run this offense. All right, and he's trying to cater to Kenny Pickett's strengths. Now, everybody can sit there and piss and moan about Matt Canada all you want. But again, like I said, dude got a raw deal. 3 years ago, he was promoted to the offensive coordinator position, and he wanted to do all this pre-snap motion. He wanted to do all sorts of innovative things. He wanted to change around the offense completely. And Big Ben Roethlisberger was like, I don't like this stuff, right? And Big Ben started dictating all the terms of what was going to happen. And so Canada got neutered basically in that first year. So the second year, Matt Canada tries to install his offense, but he's also now dealing with a rookie quarterback, and he's trying to get all of that going. So here we are now in week 3. Before you start crapping on Canada, and that's the offensive coordinator, not the country, but when you start doing that with Matt Canada, just understand what the situation was. There is the possibility of improvements. We've now seen it here. And I'm sorry, I'm looking at the Steelers for this coming week, and I like what I see. And, listen, the poor guy lost Deontay Johnson. He lost that security blanket for Kenny Pickett, so he's got to make those adjustments and kind of work in different things. Like Deontay Johnson was supposed to be the guy that Kenny Pickett leaned on. He was going to be the guy who was going to move the chains. George Pickens, sail downfield, stretch that defense, do whatever you got for that. But overall, growth. That's what you're looking for. You're looking for growth. Yes, look at these numbers here. 9th worst rated passing offense, 3.2 yards per carry, 4th worst in the league, and touchdowns on the ground. And everybody is in, it's against Matt Canada. Take a beat for that. Nathaniel Hackett, Luke Getsy, flush him down the toilet. Matt Canada, wait a little bit. That's more of the if it's yellow, let it mellow. rather than the it's brown, flush it down kind of mentality. So pause on that. I'm being told that the green room right here at Getting Buzzed is buzzing beyond belief. So let's push aside the coordinator talk and let's bring in my guest here tonight. Tonight, I don't even know what time it is right now. His name is Chris Kuroda. He is the lighting designer for the band Phish. He does a few other things as well, like designing lighting systems for arenas and fun stuff like that. Bring him in here, Chris Kuroda. Look at that picture of Chris Kuroda. Look at how handsome that guy is. Where is he? Where there? Oh, look at that. Look at that. It is Scott Fishbowl t-shirt.
Of course.
Well, you just cost me $20 because I thought you were going to wear the turquoise one because it makes your eyes pop so well.
Well, this is this year, so
And how is your Scott Fishbowl team doing?
I'm doing really, really well. I'm actually in second place in my division. Skinny McKinney and I are tied for second. So,
Skinny sitting here in the chat right now. What's going on there, Skinny? Always great to have you here. So, Chris, first and foremost, dude, thank you so much for joining me. I know it's kind of funny because it was like a bad joke starting off because I know because we're friends. I know you hate talking about yourself. I know you do.
I do. It's true.
I know.
But it's an honor to be here with you, and I'll do whatever you want. You know what I mean? As you know, in our household, on Monday through Friday, we set our alarm on our phones for 4:59 p.m., and the reminder reads Howard time. So we do this daily, and at 4:59, the alarms go off, and on goes the radio. It's Howard time. So
I love that.
It's a pleasure to be here with you, brother.
Thank you so much, man. Thank you so much. How is your beautiful darling wife Rhea? How's Ripley doing? How's your daughter doing? She's loving college football life right now, isn't she?
She is. She is. Thank you very much. She is. We're doing well. We're having a good year. Everyone's doing great. Thanks for asking. The dog is doing wonderful. As you know, she's our first dog ever. She's 2 years old. My wife is doing great. She is the fantasy football genius of the house. She's way smarter than I am when it comes to fantasy football. She has this knack to pick these players in July that you and I and everybody else goes, who? Never heard of that guy. I have no idea who you're talking about. And now here we are in week 3, and I don't know how she pulls them out of her hat, but in July, she started talking Puka Nakua. And you and I both went, who? I've never even heard who that is. And she was like, I'm telling you, Puka Nakua. And sure enough, like how in the world she does this, I have no idea. But she's got the knack.
Listen, you both are junkies. I'm not gonna there's no nice way to say it, but you both are fantasy football junkies. Like we had this conversation, the three of us, and actually my wife joined in on that as well. Now we had this conversation back then about how many leagues we do, and I keep saying how much of it's such a grind, and I don't want to do so many leagues and this and that. But then draft season happens. We get all sorts of swept up in it. And but what boggles, like I understand Rhea, just kind of, jumping in on a million different leagues and stuff like that. But it's so contagious that you're like, we should do this league. We should do that league. How many leagues are you in right now? And worst case here also, how do you balance that when you're dealing with summer tour?
It's difficult. But I always put aside time, especially in the early mornings. But we made a family rule because my wife and I are in conjunction junkies. We're the conjunction junkies when it comes to fantasy football. And we made a rule for ourselves that we were only going to be in 5 leagues this year. Best balls don't count, just 5 leagues where you're managing a team, because that was enough to manage. Like, it's hard to manage any more than that. This started in July when we were starting to draft for Scott Phish. We're in another one called IDP Invitational. We like the charity leagues. So I have a league which you're in, and we were going to limit it to 5. time goes on, your drafts. As soon as you start drafting, you want to draft more. You make up. You have new strategies. I hit you up for the Animal Crackers League. You hit me up for the Shakedown League. So both of us, our 5 leagues this year have turned into 14 each, which is it's overwhelming, but it's really, really fun because I get to wake up every morning and go on MFL and go, I have 6 leagues here. Let me look at this, A, B, C, D. Then I move over to Sleeper. Let me look at the 8 leagues I have there. Then I move over to ESPN. Then I move over to RT Sports. And it's fun. It's really, really fun to pay attention. The hysterical thing is you were talking a lot about Josh Kelly on the radio when Austin Eckler went down, if you recall.
I do.
And trying to pick up the same guy in 14 different leagues is a challenge, to say the least. I think I wound up getting him in, deciding to pull the trigger and take him in 2 out of the 16. Looked at my other leagues. I knew he was probably a good play, but liked who I already had on my roster and passed. But you have to, as you know, you have to make decisions for each league independently. You can't just say, this one guy's out there and he's going to be a good play. I need to take him across the board. Because if you take him, you need to drop somebody that you're high on or you think's going to improve over the year. And a lot of these guys don't have hot starts, or they're questionable or hurt, but you have confidence in them moving forward. So it's difficult to manage all these teams.
I was going to say, how long does it take you to do waivers each week? Because I'm sure that you've got some on Tuesday and some on Wednesday, like an hour a day, 2 hours a day. How long does it take?
Probably an hour broken up. So half an hour in the morning, and then I start my work day, do the things I have to do. And then maybe during my, while I'm having some lunch, I might poke around for 15 minutes. And then, by the end of the day, we'll go, oh, yeah, there's 3 or 4 teams I didn't address today and go look at those as well. So, and then usually that Thursday or Friday afterwards, depending on whether I was able to acquire the players I wanted or not, you decide if you're going to insert them or not, or let them ride your bench for a week, or what your move is going to be. So it's not an all day, everyday thing, but I spent most of my life with 2 leagues, 3 leagues. 14 is a whole new challenge. And to be honest with you, I'm really enjoying it because each league is full of really fun people that I've just met, people I've met through you, analysts that I've met. I really love being in the league with Jen Piacenti and Britt Flynn. Britt Flynn, thanks for Treylon Burks. No thanks. So why did I listen to you? Sleeper of the year, said Britt Flynn.
Well, who knew DeAndre Hopkins was going to suck so bad too, right? I think it's more Ryan Tannehill than anything else. Don't you? I mean, come on.
I just had to jab Britt for a second. We've never actually met in person, but I have a ton of respect for her and a ton of respect for Jen, and I hear them on the air all the time. And as you know, Rhea, my wife, is in what she refers to as the chick league with those guys. So she's talking about them all the time. And her mantra, Jen, if you're listening, in the chick league is, I don't care how I do as long as I beat Jen.
Which is kind of like your mantra when you're talking about the leagues that you're doing with them as well, right? I mean, you actually referred to them, and I think it's a great, little moniker there, as the dynamic duo. So, yep. Chris, if you're a fantasy football villain taking on the dynamic duo, who are you?
Oh gosh, that I don't know. I would have to think about that for a second. I would have to probably go with the Riddler.
Ooh.
Like, not quite the Joker, but the Riddler. Yes, the Riddler.
Riddle me this,
Batman. Riddle me this. Riddle me this, Batman. Play Treylon Burks or Joshua Kelly.
Oh, poor Brett with the Treylon Burks call there.
But I have a ton of respect for her. And I just wanted to poke a little fun. That's all.
What if I told you that they're both also Dallas Cowboys fans? Like, what does that do to you? Tell everybody give everybody your allegiance, your background with football, why football is like so ingrained in you right now.
I will tell you why.
Oh, here you go, folks. This is it.
I will tell you why this logo. So, when I was 4 years old, I kind of liked the Dolphins, like every little itty bitty kid does. I liked the Dolphins. And my father took me to camp, Giants camp, which happened to be in Westchester County, New York, where I was growing up at the time. It was in Pleasantville, at SUNY Pleasantville. That was the location at the time in 1969, so whenever that was. And I went to camp and got to stand right next to all these players and watch them up close and personal, and the rest is history. You have an experience like that as a little kid, and you're a fan for life, for better or for worse. So, it's just the way it goes.
All right. Because I've actually had this discussion with people, and I don't think you and I have had this discussion. If you've got a team that's won multiple Super Bowls in your lifetime, has been a dynasty at any point in time, like, you can't complain about the lean years. Come on, man. You guys.
No, you can't. We have 4 Super Bowls. I would never, ever say there was a dynasty Giants team in my life, in the sense that I love it. Let's go, brother.
New York, baby, come on.
So the Giants would win the Super Bowl and then they wouldn't make the playoffs the next year. Or the Giants would win the Super Bowl and then be 11-0, and then Plaxico Burress would shoot himself in the leg. Or the Giants we have this expression that can only happen to the Giants when I forget who it was on the Eagles with a minute 31 ran the punt back to beat us.
Deshaun Jackson.
Deshaun Jackson.
There you
Thank
go.
you very much, Deshaun Jackson. Or the Herm Edwards thing. Or. There are so many things that could only happen to the Giants. How about the playoff year many years ago in San Francisco, where we were up 35-14 in the fourth quarter and lost the game? That can only happen to the Giants. Thank you very much. Yes, I know we did something similar to Arizona a couple weeks ago, but they're Arizona. You know what I mean?
They are Arizona.
So, but anyway, yes, live and die. There's no, I don't jump on bandwagons just because teams are doing well. Stick with the Giants all the way. So.
For better or for worse, like you said, no doubt about it. All right,
and if I may add, this weird thing happens to me where I have a second team that I like when they stink. So way back in the day, it was the Green Bay Packers, and then once they got good, I couldn't like them anymore. So then it became the Chiefs, and then the Chiefs got good, so I couldn't like them anymore, and then it became the Dolphins again, and now the Dolphins are getting good. So now I don't know where I'm going to go from here.
Just come to the Jets, baby. Come to the Jets.
That's tough for me.
Come on, we share a stadium.
We do. The one that used to be called Giant Stadium.
Right. One. Well, you had to make us feel at home somehow. So it became MetLife Stadium. Wait. Don't you've got a team name with a little MetLife in there, don't you?
Yeah, I have a fantasy football team named MetLife Crisis. I do.
Yeah.
And my daughter came up with the name.
Oh.
My daughter came up with a name and said, "Dad, you have to name your team this." And I went, "Okay." We listen to our children. So
she's got the fantasy football bug too. I know that she's doing leagues, right? She's she's crushing it.
Yeah, she is. She's in a mother-daughter league with my wife, and she is hosting her own league where she's the commissioner, and she's in a third league. I don't know too many, but she's in 3 leagues. So yeah, she's got the bug. She does the research. She like mother, like daughter,
I hear you. I hear you. Fantastic. All right. Now, before we dive in a little further here, for those out there who maybe you're not familiar with Phish, maybe you're not familiar with what Chris does for a living. So before we get to some more New York Giants football, and I put you, Chris, into the New York Giants dating game.
Oh, good.
I just want to share this little, just for a little video for everybody out there. If you want to see what the master looks like at work, watch this time-lapse video that we've got going on right now that just shows some absolutely amazing things. Can we talk about the moving rig for a second, dude? Because nobody does that. And I don't really understand how you can sit there with like one hand you're on the lights, another hand you're on the moving rig. Like, I mean, it's literally like almost like a flight simulator for a pilot, almost, to see you going back and forth like that. Like, give me the concept behind the moving rig. Like, what was that idea for you to be like, you know what? I'm gonna make all my lights move all over the place.
Well, it's something I always wanted to do. Well, it started out, I just wanted to have the ability to take the lighting rig and just change the shape of it. So instead of it being this way, we'll make it curved that way. And just in its infancy, that was the idea, to just be able to make different shapes. And once we started diving into it, we realized that instead of just making these static shapes, what we refer to those moves as are dynamic moves. We could make it dynamically, keep moving and moving and moving. And we could make all, not just your simple smile, frown, X. We could come up with some really intricate shapes by, sort of putting our heads together, me and my team, and thinking about how everything would work. The interesting thing about it is, for people who have seen us 1,000 times or people who don't, the hardest challenge for us was being able to make the light that's on the truss stay on the band member while the truss is moving. Because if my phone here is the truss and my pen here is the light, and the truss goes like this, the light is now pointing at the side wall. We need to figure out a bunch of trigonometry that the light stays where it is while this is happening. Because the light has the ability to move and the truss has the ability to move. So as the truss is moving this way, the light is moving this way with the math that we do. So it looks like it's not moving at all off the object or band member in this case that it's supposed to be lighting. That was the challenge. I want to use some profanity, and that was the mind F of the whole thing.
You can say mind fuck here. It's okay, man. I'm totally
That was
cool
the
with
mind fuck of it all. And it took us, I kid you not, it took 6 months of banging our head against the table to finally figure out how to make that work. So.
I mean, it's unbelievable. Like I for everybody out there, me, I've been seeing shows for years and years and years. My show count is in the hundreds and whatever. And I've like watched, I mean, I grew up basically like, maturity wise with Phish and out of college and everything like that. You've grown up basically working in that entire thing. And to watch the evolution, I mean, it's just like, go back, folks, and just on the YouTube machine there that you guys use, and look at like old shows, and then look at like shows over the years to looking at what it's like now. Because I mean, it's absolutely mind-blowing, ridiculously impressive, and the way that it's now kind of spawned your career into like other directions right now. Like you did, like Madison Square Garden said, hello, Chris, we'd like you to fix the lights in all of the garden now and do all of the garden. Chase Center was like, hey, Chris, we saw what you did with the Madison Square Garden. Can you do that over here? Like doing arenas now, and you create this immersion effect. Like if you're in the audience and you're and you're like there, no matter where you are in the arena at MSG or at the Chase Center, you feel like you're in this immersion thing that's, that just, it changes the dynamic of the show so much. I mean,
yeah. And that philosophy is starting to catch on in a much bigger way because we do use the installed lights in Madison Square Garden in tandem with what we're doing, and same in the Chase Center, simply because I have access, because I design and program all the in-game lighting for the Knicks, the Rangers, and the Warriors. So that is catching on, and I'm getting more and more sort of attention or calls or questions about, hey, can you come into our arena and can you help us with our lighting, arenas that I don't work for, not specifically arenas that have NBA or NHL sports teams, although a lot of them do, because they're more interested in being able to have the ability to have X come into their building and be able to offer the immersion experience. Hey, you can tie into our stuff like these guys do, and you can do it too. So companies and arenas and sports teams and businesses are getting to the point where they've seen us do it, and now they want to offer it to everybody. So
I mean,
it's cool. It's really cool.
It's insanely cool. It's insanely cool. And, you know,
with the moving trusses, literally the idea was we need to go where no one else can go. We need to do something that no one else can do. What is it? And we realized that if we started this whole moving truss thing, it would be somewhere where others couldn't follow us, at least not for a while, because the amount of work and the amount of programming, the amount of technology and the amount of thought, you can't just go, oh, Phish is doing that, let's do that too. No, it's going to take you years to be able to get it to work, just like it took us years to be able to get it to work. So
that's definitely the thing. Not to mention the fact that, I mean, listen, I know you basically, you taught yourself lighting design. I'm sure you had influences who you looked at while you were, you know, up and coming and trying to figure it out. Right now, you're at the top of that coaching tree, right? Like, you know, you've got all the, you know, all the other bands and all the other lighting designers, and they sit and they watch what you do and try and, you know, pull ideas off of that and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, you're just light years ahead of everybody, in my opinion. And it's like, I'm not trying to sound like biased or anything like that because we're friends. I'm actually saying it from like somebody who goes to shows all the time, you know?
And just to be fair, once things really started going for us in the mid to late 90s, I did go and educate myself and take lighting design courses just to, you know, sort of get I am self-taught, but I wanted to continue to hire my education. And yeah, you know, when we're about to do a show and I turn around and there's 20 lighting designers standing behind me watching me what I do, I'm like, oh yeah, this is fun. No pressure here. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, no, it's great. It's really been great. So,
well,
absolutely. There's so much positive feedback and all that.
Dude, I mean, I couldn't even fathom negative feedback from any of it. It's absolutely insane. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have any opportunity whatsoever to go see a show, the Madison Square Garden New Year's run, I'm going out for that one. If you guys have the opportunity to get there, I mean, just that whole vibe inside the garden is just absolutely incredible. But all right, let's push that aside here.
One last thing.
Oh, yes.
Whenever I make the lights green and white, it means I'm thinking of you, buddy.
Aw, I thought it was the bounce effect. I thought that was what you were like thinking of me, because I have a team name called Bounce.
Blue and white, I'm thinking about myself. Green and white, I'm thinking of you.
Huh. I don't really see much green. I'm just gonna say. All right, well, let's get to some blue and white here. Chris, I always, with my guests here on the show, I love to play a little bit of a game. You know, it sort of caters to their strengths and some of their weaknesses. So you being a New York Football Giants aficionado, Chris, I welcome you to the fantasy sports dating game.
Oh my goodness.
New York Giants edition. And here's how it works.
Okay.
I'm going to tell you 3 bachelors who are standing in front of their lockers right now. Okay. And then you're going to have a total of 3 questions. You can ask individually. You can maybe ask a couple of, 2 of them. You only have 3 questions though. And then you have to tell me which bachelor you want. Are you ready?
I'll do my best.
All right. In front of locker number 1, this former Giants pass catcher spent his entire 13-year career with the team and dons 1 Super Bowl ring. This Big Ten alumnus hails from Berkeley, California, and amassed almost 9,500 receiving yards and 54 touchdowns during his career. He had 668 career catches. Chris, will your heart be 669 for him? In front of locker number 2, fantasy bachelor number 2 also spent his entire career in East Rutherford. Although this offensive weapon didn't have to deal with the swirling winds as much as his fellow contestants, this former running back is a Houston native and spent his college years in the SEC. He made 2 visits to the Pro Bowl in Hawaii, with one of those seasons including 14 total touchdowns. Will the next plane he breaks be the one to your heart? And finally, locker number 3, this former pass catcher puts the big in big blue. Standing at 6'4", 245 pounds, you'll never have to fear walking down a dark alley alongside this guy. The Boston native became a fan favorite in a rival city with his blue-collar play, along with his 2 Super Bowl rings and 2 All-Pro selections. Will this former 4th-round pick be your first overall selection? So you now have 3 questions. You got to figure out which bachelor you want to date.
So, bachelor number, if I understand how to play this right, bachelor number 3, did you play the tight end position?
Indeed, I did.
2 more.
Bachelor number 2. Oh, good. This is not easy, Mr. Bender. Let me tell you something.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize you wanted a layup.
Bachelor number 2. Did you wear the all right, bachelor number 2. Did you wear the number 21 in your playing days?
I did not wear the number 21 in my playing days. No.
Bachelor number 1. Did you wear the number 81 in your playing days?
Yes, I did wear number 81 in my playing days.
I am going to have to give my heart to bachelor number 3, who I assume is Mark Bavaro.
Oh, bachelor number 3. Are you Mark Bavaro? Hey!
I knew one was Amani Toomer as well, by the way, with my 81 question. But I thought 2 was going to be Tiki Barber. So there you go.
All right. So, well, you got 2 out of the 3. You got yourself a date with Mark Bavaro. Adam Bernard, my producer, tell him what he's won.
That's right, folks. We're going to actually show the commercial from years ago at the restaurant you've won a free dinner with Bill Parcells at.
You know, Mike, I used to eat here at Manny's after every home game when I coached the Giants, and Manny's is as good as it gets.
You're right, it doesn't get any better than Manny's chicken franchise.
You tried the veal parmesan?
No way, I never have the veal.
How can you say the chicken's better than the veal?
I always have the chicken. I always have the chicken.
How can you say that?
I'm out of here. Manny, where's the
The
check?
veal's way better than the
Manny!
chicken. Everybody knows that.
Check.
Well, there you go, Chris. I'll send the gift card in the mail, and we'll set you up with a nice little one-on-one date with Mark Bavaro, former tight end of the New York Giants. I will say this, though. There is a very, very strong chance that whenever you do set up this date with Bavaro, my wife is going to want to attend as well, because she...
I mean, who wouldn't want to have dinner with Mark Bavaro? Absolutely. And let me add to the fire that my wife's middle name is Amani.
Really?
Yes, it is.
How did I not know that?
I don't know.
You got any more fun facts for me?
That's the only one that comes to mind right now. You know, Lawrence Taylor was the guest of honor at my bachelor party. That's
that
another
I
good
know.
one.
That I know. I think there's a picture of you, like you and LT. Are you kissing him? Is he kissing you? What are the two?
It could be a little of both. Who knows?
right. Well, here you go. Chris, my one final question to you here. And this kind of goes along with the conversation that you and I just had the other day on the phone. But I will say this, in any time period, at any game day Sunday possible, or Monday or a Thursday, whatever it is, Chris, if you could Freaky Friday with one New York Giant for any moment in Giants history, who would you be? Don't say Theismann. Don't say Taylor breaking Theismann's leg, because that'll make me throw up.
No. Oh, so I have to pick a moment in Giants history?
A moment in Giants history that if you could Freaky Friday and you could be the one who makes the catch, makes the block, makes the sack, throws the pass, whatever it could be.
As much as I'd like to be Phil Simms going 22 for 25 in that Super Bowl, I'm going to have to go with, I can't remember his name.
David Tyree?
The kick returner who caught the tip in the end zone. The ball got tipped and he dove and caught it.
You know who it is? I know exactly who it is. Phil McConkey.
Yes, Phil McConkey. I'll take that moment. I will take that moment.
Dude.
Because Phil McConkey did not have a lot of moments in his career, but he had that one. David Tyree with the helmet catch, sure. However, we all happen to know that before he made that catch, he dropped the last 87 balls that were thrown to him. So I'll go with Phil McConkey on the tip in the Super Bowl. Thank you.
I love that. I love that. Chris, I got to let you go. Thank you so much for being here. It's always great to have you joining us here, talking Giants football, talking everything. Give your wife a big hug and a smooch for me. Give Ripley some rub downs for me there. Say hello to Alex, and I thank you so much for being
right
here.
Back at you in all regards, family and Howard. The pleasure is all mine, my friend. Thank you so much for having me.
Ladies and gentlemen, Chris Kuroda, get yourselves to a Phish show, damn it.
Yeah, come on, let's go.
Let's do it, baby. Do it.
All right. You go back to destroying Matt Canada and I'm going to get back to work.
All right, brother. You be good. We'll talk to you later, ladies and gentlemen. Follow him on Twitter at Chris Kuroda CK5.
At Chris CK5.
At Chris CK5. Why do I always put your name in there? I don't know.
Don't know.
All right. Why are you still here?
Much love, Howard. Talk to you later, brother.
Chris. Peace out. Oh my God. One of my all-time favorite human beings in the absolute world, Chris Kuroda, ladies and gentlemen. Again, yes, if you could take in a Phish show or just go watch some video over on YouTube, it was absolutely amazing. I love the fact that he wants to Freaky Friday with Phil McConkey, because actually, you know what? A little funny side story here. I used to tend bar at a place on the Upper West Side in the mid to late 90s in New York. And who lived right around the corner? Phil McConkey. And Phil used to be sitting there. He was a regular of mine. We used to sit there. We used to talk football all the time. He brought Mark Bavaro into the bar a couple of times. We sat and hung out and talked to the two of them. Unbelievable dudes, unbelievable people. The fact that Chris wants to Freaky Friday with McConkey for that moment, if he knew McConkey, how awesome a dude McConkey was on top of that, winner, chicken dinner. All right, folks. Whoa, we got Thursday night football tonight, so the work is about to pile up. You've got coming up next Alarm Fantasy Football with me and Andrew Cooper. So get your lineup questions ready for us over there. Before we check out of here, as always, we like to jump into something we call the Final Five. And today's topic here for our Final Five is the 5 most annoying things about fall/autumn. And here we go. Coming in at number 5. Is it fall or is it autumn? There's no other season that has 2 names. Pick one and stick with it. Right? Is it fall? Is it autumn? Winter, spring, summer, or autumn? No, that's not how the song goes. So why are we talking about autumn here? Just pick a name already. Number 4, it's pronounced foliage, not foliage. I don't know who the hell is saying foliage out there, but it's pronounced foliage. We aren't wrapping up leftovers from the farewell summer barbecue here. Foliage. Number 3, how about this? How about people whining about missing the summer? If I have to hear one more person in the middle of October be like, damn, I wish it was summer. I can be sitting at like the beach right now. I don't want to hear it. I don't like the summer. I think it's too hot. It's too gross. I'm built for comfort, not for speed. Number 2 coming in. How about volatile temperature shifts from day to day? What, like, I don't know, people. What's up with global warming? It's 40 degrees one day. It's 85 the next. Can you just pick a temperature range that's actually a lot more normal here? Please, please. And then the worst thing about fall or autumn, whatever you want to call it here, leaves. Fuck leaves, man. I was just so sick of them, right? I got idiots with the leaf blowers going all the time. That's annoying. When you were a kid, you'd somebody would shove leaves down your back, or you would like jump into a pile of leaves and you get them inside and they're itchy and they're gross. You know what, man? Just stay on the trees. Just stay on the trees. Give us some shade. We don't need you to drop away. I don't care. The color change, I don't mind that. But for crying out loud, man, just stay on the tree. And those are our 5 things that we hate the most about fall/autumn. Although can I bring in Adam Bernard here one more time before we get on out of here? Adam?
Yes.
I thought pumpkin spice was going to make this list here. How come it didn't?
I thought that was too cliche. I feel like everybody's already, has spoken their distaste for the amount of just pumpkin being injected into everything at this time of the year. Like, I'm waiting for pumpkin scented urinal cakes. Like, that's got to be the next thing. Has that been done yet?
Pumpkin scented urinal cakes would be all right by me.
I'd be okay with that, actually. That would be one area I'm okay with, injecting the pumpkin spice.
Right, especially on those days where you eat a lot of asparagus and then you're out in like the restaurant and you're just taking a whiz. If it smelled like pumpkin spice instead of asparagus pea, I think we'd all be okay.
Makes you feel like you're taking a whiz, like during apple picking, gets that like fall feel to it. Not autumn feel, fall feel.
Apple picking, another horror show. Another horror show. It is the worst date you could ever possibly go on, is going apple picking. Why? Because it's apple picking.
See, you know what I do? I just go to where they already have them in the bags and I get my apple cider donuts. It's like a 3-minute process in and out. I don't need to go pick. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you're in here in Northern California. Murray's Family Farms, as you're driving down Route 5.
Okay.
That's where you got to just go past like Tracy. And there's a place on Route 5 called Murray's Family Farms. The apple cider donuts, amazing.
See, the ones I used to get are in a town in, I don't want to say upstate New York because it's technically not upstate, but New Paltz, about 15 minutes west of Poughkeepsie. There's a bunch of apple farms there. You can't go wrong with any of the apple cider donuts you encounter in that region.
No, you can't. See, now I want apple cider donuts, dude. Why you got to do this to me? We were hating on the fall, and now all of a sudden, now I'm loving it with apple cider donuts.
There are good things about the fall. We don't hate the season. We were just listing off the most annoying things. Apple cider donuts would probably crack the list of 5 best things about the fall for me.
Yeah, I don't think I have 4 more that to add to that list.
I mean, it's a good sports time. You got hockey, football, you got everything going on in the fall.
You, Adam Bernard, ladies and gentlemen. Adam Bernard. Where would I be without Adam Bernard?
I don't know.
Probably on a blank screen right now. But that's going to do it for us here, folks. Big thank you to everybody for tuning in. I'm sorry if I didn't address anything that you had going on in the chat. I saw it out of the corner of my eye, but, listen, some of these shows, they're just for me. If you want to be interacted with, if you got questions you want answers to, tune in next to Alarm Fantasy Football. Howard Bender, Andrew Cooper. We're hitting you with the NFL Week 4 lineups. And then later on tonight, don't forget, by the way, jump into the Bettercast app. That's BETTORCAST.app. Go there, download it for free. We hang out in the chat. A lot of questions to answer during the games for, prop bets and stuff like that, things that are going to happen. Win some free shit. Who doesn't love winning free shit? I know I love winning free shit. Sports memorabilia, autograph stuff for free. Yes, I'm in it. Bettercast.app. That's going to do it for us here on Getting Buzzed. Again, big thanks to all of you for tuning in and to Chris Kuroda for joining me here on the show. For Adam Bernard, I'm Howard Bender. This has been Getting Buzzed. We'll catch you next time.